Right, good morning everyone and welcome to our PGA Show virtual webinar, how Whistling Straits uses technology as a player experience and efficiency game changer. We're very excited to have you join us here today. I'm even wearing short sleeves because this is Florida, correct? Even though we might be logging in from elsewhere, but that's always going to work. I'm joined by a very exciting guest, Mike O'Reilly, the Director of Golf Operations at Destination Cola, famously Whistling Straits and three other amazing golf courses. Mike, welcome.
Morning, Bodo. Thanks for having me, my man.
Thank you, thank you. My name is Bodo Sieber. I'm the CEO of Tagmarshal, and let's see what we have to share with everyone today. What I'd like to do is just, Mike, to give you a couple of minutes to introduce yourself and your amazing course that we're all excited to hopefully see on the big screen later in the year, or live.
Yeah, we have certainly an exciting year ahead of us. We're supposed to be this past fall, but now this upcoming fall we'll host the 43rd playing of the Ryder Cup. So we're certainly excited about that. But just a little about myself. I've been with Kohler Company for many years now, coming on 25 years. Started really working in the bag room and as a caddy many years ago. Was an assistant professional, head professional at Whistling Straits for about 10 years, and this will be my 4th season as the director of golf. So great facility. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. We've worked with Tagmarshal kind of since their beginning. It's about our 5th, 6th year working with Tagmarshal, and it's been a great experience. Not only have we made some good friends with the team at Tagmarshal, we've improved our business on a couple different levels, and we'll certainly talk about that as we go through today. But excited to be here. It's a little bit different PGA show. Normally would meet down there and talk, but a little different this year, and but we're gonna make the best of it.
Indeed we will, Mike, and I know that you will also make the very best of the Ryder Cup, and we always said that postponed is better than cancelled, so we're excited that you'll have a shot at it. Yes. And there's certainly also work a bit of home ground advantage magic.
We hope so, yes.
Mike, you're not only working at the Straits group of facilities, you're also involved in the Wisconsin PGA section, am I right?
Yeah, certainly. I'm currently the vice president of the Wisconsin PGA. Later this fall, hopefully, I'll become the president of the Wisconsin PGA. So that's been a nice experience for me and an opportunity to give back to the section a little bit as well. So it's been a fun and exciting experience.
Oh, brilliant. So it's all happening in 2021.
Yes. Yes.
Mike, thanks for the fantastic intro. If you'll allow me just a minute about Tagmarshal. Like I said, I'm Bodo Sieber, CEO. You will hear a peculiar German accent, and it's because those are my roots. Tagmarshal is a golf course intelligence system. So we are a system that optimizes course traffic and the on-course operations. At this point, we've tracked over 15 million rounds of golf, and we've got a lot of data to go with that. And there's around 300 courses that we work with globally, most of them obviously in the US. We're very lucky in that 30% of the top 100 courses now work with us, and there's a nice list of private clubs that you'll see at the top. Another Ryder Cup host, Hazeltine, and famously this year thankfully we got to see the US Open at Winged Foot, and then also some really good resorts, including Whistling Straits and Black Ball run the group, and also Pinehurst and many others. We also take partners to the European Tour, and we work with the USGA because we've got very interesting data that we can support them with. So yeah, what we do is help clubs optimize the play experience and take care of all the on-course traffic and the flow of play, and just bring some technology into a space to ensure success. What we want to talk to today is, we'll start with what is the player experience factor that's key. What are the top factors, and why should we pay attention? Because obviously we're serving the players. And Mike, from your point of view as a player, of many years, but also as an operator, and your involvement in the section, what would you say are sort of the top three experience factors that are always important to players?
Yeah, I think, it depends on the facility. If I speak kind of selfishly about, our facilities here, obviously people come to our destination to play the golf courses, and the course design is important. Course and conditioning also is extremely important. Our guests expect a golf course that is well maintained. Obviously greens in good condition, rolling well. But I'm always going to put pace of play and flow of play up in the top three as well, because even if you have a beautiful golf course and it's well maintained, it's going to be tough to enjoy it if you're standing around all day long. So for a facility like ours, I would say those are probably the top three, but it depends on what type of facility it is. It might be a little bit different for a Saturday afternoon round of golf at your local golf course. Their pace of play might be certainly in the top three as well, because you want to get in, enjoy your round with your friends, and get back home and doing what you need to do.
Yeah, very, very well put here, certainly. And from our experience and having worked with many of the clubs, obviously they're putting a lot of emphasis on the flow of play, because what they understand is you can have a course that's a nice design and it's fantastically conditioned, but if you don't present it well, then all that goes out the window.
Right.
So if you present it well, and if there's a great experience out on the course, that's obviously the full package. And that's where cost and value comes into play. Because sometimes a $400 round of golf is great value, and sometimes a $30 round of golf is terrible value, right? So you got to get those things right. Just to back the sentiment, there is obviously a lot of research that's been done, and there's one set of research that's come out of the USGA where they're confirming, I think they surveyed about 25,000 golfers not too many years ago. And they're confirming that 82%, that's a high percentage, are saying golf course conditioning is the top enjoyment factor. So make sure that the course is nicely conditioned. But very close to that is pace and flow and the time it takes to play at 74%. And that is something that is generally not getting nearly as much attention, certainly from a budget and manpower point of view. But the good news is that there are certain things that one can do to really make a difference here that the players will appreciate, that can really take us into the future as far as proactive management is concerned. Mike, you're not surprised by these findings based on what you said?
No, not surprised one bit. I think it's a good learning opportunity for all of us, really, with the amount of time and effort that our golf course maintenance teams put into maintaining and presenting the golf course. And it's expensive to maintain a golf course. And if we put, all of our energy into that, and zero or very little energy into maintaining pace of play on the golf course, I think that's a mistake. You can see right here how closely those two are quote unquote ranked as far as the enjoyment factor. And, we spend several $100,000 to $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is, a course spends on maintaining the golf course. And not that you need to spend that much on managing pace of play, but you need to make an effort and spend some time and energy on it.
Sure. It's almost like an unused opportunity, right? With a little bit of effort and a little bit of process, it'll make such a difference to the players. Just to add a little bit of research here, also from the USGA's Golf Innovation Symposium. This is from Players First. They've tracked probably 1 million or so post-round surveys, and they found that there is a very close correlation to the NPS, which is the Net Promoter Score. Most of you will know that as the good old question of how would you rate our servers, and would you recommend our servers, or in this case golf course, to your friends and peers out of 10, 0 being absolutely not, it was horrible, and 10 being yes, I was delighted, I would praise it and sing my praises from the rooftops. So that is your Net Promoter Score. And they're finding a very close correlation between good flow of play, they're calling it flow, and a high Net Promoter Score. And if it's bad flow, the Net Promoter Score goes immediately rock bottom. So it shows you how sensitive that is. Mike, from your point of view, I'm sure that collecting data and understanding how the many guests that you get experience the resort is very important. Is the Net Promoter Score something that you track?
Yeah, absolutely. All of our guests that visit our destination and play, one of the 2 courses at Whistling Straits or one of the 2 courses at Black Wolf Run, they receive a survey when they check out of one of the 2 hotels or one of our cabins. So, and we look at that data very closely, and it's not uncommon if we fail from a pace of play standpoint that we'll hear about it there. So it does have a big impact on not only the overall perception of the golf experience, but the overall perception of the resort. And for us, to take it, I guess, to the next level is, we're part of a large plumbing company. And it could have a negative impact on someone's view of the Kohler brand. So, for us, many parts of the experience at the resort are incredibly important. And flow of play is certainly one of them.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect any less. You're paying close attention. And one of the things that you have as an added challenge is that obviously the expectations are sky high when somebody comes over to play at the Straits, and you have to match that every single time. There's no exceptions. One of the things that is important when it comes to improvement is that you have to measure, right? If you want to improve something, you need to measure it. Peter Drucker said that, but also Dr. Rand Jerris from the USGA quoted this at the Golf Innovation Symposium, and that's the challenge to the industry, is to really track and measure as much as possible. And I'm not surprised to hear that you do that, Mike, with regards to Net Promoter Score, but also with regards to other metrics on the course. And maybe that's a good segue into looking how does the Straits group of courses use technology to enhance the player experience. But maybe before we go there, you have worked with technology now to aid your on-course operations and to manage the on-course traffic for 4 years. What did you do before that time? Because already you put in a lot of effort, but it would have been quite a different sort of effort without the ease of technology.
Yeah, I mean, if I go back 10 years, we were probably like a lot of us were back at that time, and it was an Excel spreadsheet that was printed off and given to a player assistant on the golf course, and they would drive around checking with groups and try to find holes and try to find issues and track everything very, very manually. Labor intensive and expensive, for us to do from a labor standpoint, and tough to really, unless you really took the time in the office to put all that data into some sort of Excel spreadsheet and really spent a lot of time on doing that. It was difficult to really know how you were doing outside of just the, how we doing today type thing. So, it was challenging. It was difficult, but a lot of us have certainly been there on how we manage pace of play at that time. So very different than what we're doing today.
Certainly. So with pace of play and the flow and the time it takes to play being so important, and you're putting such a proactive effort into that. What are the sort of things that you do at the Straits and at your other courses when it comes to utilizing the technology and to get the best possible experience out of it for your guests and make them all want to come back many times over?
Yeah, I mean, I think just this year, obtaining the handheld units from you guys has been really a nice step for us. Because of COVID, I don't think we were able to completely realize all the opportunities that afforded us. But we're, certainly working on that as we move into the 2021 year. But that's been a nice addition for us. It gives our caddies on one of our golf courses. It's a walking only golf course. Almost everyone takes a caddy. So they now have a handheld where they can get instant yardages to different locations on the golf course. So that helps play move along more smoothly. It also provides a little better experience, to the guest. If a guest wants to know what the yardage is to a particular corner in a fairway or a particular bunker, we can now provide that to them. So that's been a nice step for us, as well as communication to the caddies or to the players on the golf course about what, weather would be a good example. We have better communication instead of, again, a ranger or an assistant professional driving around and communicating to everyone, hey, there might be weather in 30 minutes. We can now do so electronically and get that information out. So, that's been nice steps for us. We're, it says on the screen here, continuous improvement, and from a pace of play standpoint, as well from, guest arrival, guest departure, guest check-in, golf shop, everywhere, we're continuously trying to improve. And if we're not, we're going to remain stagnant and eventually go backwards. So it's important to us.
Very, very true. It takes work, right? But also, I think the realization from management and your team that 1% improvement over time and at certain periods makes a big difference at the end of the season, right? At the end of the day. I think maybe that's a good time to jump in to quickly outline how the technology works. So Mike was talking about an upgrade to the two-way handhelds, which you can see on the left here. The traditional walking tags that the Tagmarshal provides are what the Straits have started with. And then at the other courses, we've got these units installed. And what all of these units do, they're GPS based. Some other club might choose a screen option, install those in the carts. They send data, live data all the time, every couple of seconds to our service. And our service then makes sense of the traffic and the space out on the course. And also understands how the various playing groups are moving relative to one another, and sort of preemptively shows if there's any traffic issues. And over time, obviously, that also allows for lots of data collection and performance tracking, daily, monthly, seasonal, and so on. And this information gets presented to management and also to the staff that's on the course and engaging with the players. So it's really quite a nice, smooth solution, and very different to the sort of pen and paper or Excel efforts that a lot of clubs used to run. Mike, at the Straits, how many people would you say are touching on the system on a daily basis, including yourself, possibly from the pro shop or from your office?
Several. To give an exact number, I don't know. I'd probably say, staff members 15 a day are, logging into the system, whether it be the AM golf professional on duty, the PM golf professional on duty, the head professional, certainly the player assistants that are on, the golf courses at, Black Wolf Run or Whistling Straits, golf shop, checking in to see what's going on out there. So it's a constant. The staff is on it, I'd be exaggerating if I said all the time, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, and I think that's probably also a good point. It doesn't have to be all the time, right? So if you can keep an eye, and if the system gives you a warning when it matters, well, if you don't need to check all the time, then that's good, because you've got things to do. All of your team do. So it probably helps there. Mike, here's an example of what things look like or might look like at the Straits course. You can see it runs alongside the lake. What holes have we got here? 4 and 3. So it really is that sort of bird's eye view. What is it that you would be looking at here, or your team, and how does it make their day and their job easier?
Yeah, so right here, the player assistant on the golf course, or the golf professional that's kind of the manager on duty at the time, is going to be eyeing this up and making sure that all the green dots and greens, they're at pace or under. see how they're flowing together. And then certainly when the red dot pops up, that gives us a warning that someone might be falling slightly behind there. So on this particular example, we can see, tag number 8 is maybe a minute, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is behind, but you can check on that. And then you can see tag 9 behind them is also slow, but they're not the problem group per se. They're behind another group that is a little bit slower. So, when this occurs, it gives us instant, feedback as to what's going on in the golf course. And now we can go pinpoint the problem instead of just, being around or driving around to quote unquote find the problem. So now we can know what's going on. Also, it's great that the staff in the golf shop or in our clubhouse area has the same exact information that the team on the course does. So, we're all speaking the same language about what group is where on the golf course.
You're making a good point here in that there is the key problem group indicated, and then behind it is a group that's actually delayed. And I think that is probably one of the one of the key differentiators that Tagmarshal brings, in that we really analyze the space out on the course and how the groups are interacting. So it's easy and immediately visible where there's a problem about to form before it starts becoming a problem. And if you think at your most of the clubs that we work with are your $50 green fee or your good private club. And many of them are not blessed with as big a staff contingent as you. So you can imagine how they might use a system to actually get more done with less people. And that's been particularly prevalent during that challenging 2020 season, where there was a high demand when golf was allowed to open up again, and a lot of clubs still had fewer staff members. And then they actually realized, well, we can actually do this better without many of the staffers that we used to and potentially have. And from your point of view, has there been an impact on the amount of staff that you used to have with the old style management versus now in terms of efficiencies?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if we talk COVID or 2020, even prior to COVID or prior to 2020, we used to have 2 to 3 player assistants on the Straits course specifically on a daily basis. And now it's closer to 1 to 2. Not closer, it is 1 or 2 depending upon the day and what we have going on. So we've been able to reduce staff down a little bit. And then during COVID, I would say we definitely realized that on all 4 golf courses here at the resort, just the ability to track things, early in the year, our April and May, for obvious reasons, were much slower than we would normally have in those time frames due to COVID. And we were able to, monitor pace of play from the golf shop if we didn't have a player assistant that particular day. So yeah, we certainly realized efficiencies this year, but even prior to this year, we've been able to trim down the staff a little bit because we have the ability to monitor things from anywhere, really.
Sure. Yeah, it's almost like the Google Maps of ways of golf management, right? So that's what we're hearing a lot, is that many of the clubs are saying, I don't need a ranger out necessarily, certainly not all days and hours of the week. The system is going to tell me when are the peak times, when do we need to pay specific attention. Other than that, we can run things from the pro shop and keep an eye and get out there as we need without having to go look for problems. It's coming to us. Mike, obviously the name of the game is working efficiently. The name of the game is providing the best possible experience, which you are masters in. And ultimately, there's a business goal as well. We're trying to work smartly and save money, but also maximize revenue. So I think maybe worth looking at a bit of the data that's coming out of the Straits course. And it's obviously nice for us to look back over time. It's not that you ever had a pace of play problem, but you realize that you wanted to do this better, and it shows how you're continuously improving with regards to groups on pace and your average round times coming down. how proactively do you track this in terms of also keeping your team accountable and potentially also reporting within your group? How do you look at this data and how important is that to you?
The easy answer is it's very important. But also, Bodo, I want to thank you for calling us the masters of creating a golf experience. I don't think that's the case, but we think we do a decent job, and we keep trying to get better. But part of that getting better is managing. Like you said before, I really like that quote about data. If it's not, if there's no data, how are you going to manage it? How are you going to know what's going on? And it's much easier for me or the head professionals, or even my superiors to manage things when we have concrete data to hold people accountable, for what's going on, whether it be in a particular day, particular week, particular month, however you want to look at it. And that's tremendous advantage for us now, is that we can actually look back and find out what happened on a particular day. From a business standpoint, and this is what we did right when we got the system, is we have a few starter times every day to help improve flow on the golf course, and we immediately got rid of one of those starter times on all 4 of the golf courses. And during our busy season, we're lucky enough that we charge a pretty good rate to play golf on our golf courses, and so during the peak season, it can have a significant impact on our revenue. But I also think for maybe a smaller, not even smaller, but a more of a local golf course, or a $50, $75 golf course, over time, over the season, the addition of maybe 1, possibly 2 tee times a day during a busy time frame can have a significant impact on your revenue. It's found revenue. It's revenue that wasn't there before. That's there now. So for us, it's had a pretty significant impact.
Absolutely. I think just for our listeners, so some of the data that we look at is obviously the average round time and for a day or for a period, but also at each individual tee time during a day gets tracked, and then we look at how did the performance go, and then we also look at how did the team handle if there were any groups that were falling out of position, because that's really what happens, right? They're not slow, they're falling out of position. They might have been mindful, they might have lost a few balls or taken a few too many photos, and that is where having that proactive line of sight really helps. But also you want to be able as a manager to see, have we done it well? Are we on the right track? Do we keep improving? One of the things that we're also tracking is the hole by hole performance. So if a hole continuously underperforms, that might give you an opportunity to look at what can we do in terms of our setup, for instance, right? So that we can get a smoother flow through that corner of the course. And there's a lot of opportunity once you have this data to help you better understand the course and how things flow and how things move. And this pace distribution dial is one of the sort of core data feeds that we're providing. We'll be looking at who's on pace, who's within 10 minutes, within 20, 30. So here you can see a nice set of improvement, and somebody coming through within 10 minutes, certainly acceptable. Obviously, we're always striving for better. And Mike, you made a nice point in that where I'm praising you, saying that you're the masters, and you always want to do better. You always looking for improvement, and that's what makes you so good. Mike, you mentioned that you were able to find more capacity, you were able to find more revenue. Here's some of the numbers that you've shared, and this is obviously over time, but it does make a difference. Is 800 rounds may not sound like a lot, but because you never had it before, and your fixed base cost is the same, really, right? It's a really profitable round. So that is something that, is that something that you're proactively chasing in terms of revenue optimization across the resort?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's certainly a balance. Our financial, being financially successful is certainly not my number one motivation or our number one motivation, but it's a result of doing other things well. So when we chose to go with Tagmarshal, we did make that decision that we were going to open up an additional tee time per day. And as this data shows right here, we've done more rounds and been more successful with improving pace of play at the same time. So those two things can both be done at the same time. For us, that tee time on the Straits course or on the river course at Black Wolf Run is not just the sale of a tee time. Many times that's tied with a room. It's tied possibly with 2 nights at the hotel, which also includes a lunch, a dinner, another lunch, another dinner, a spa service, and a visit to our chocolate shop, that type of thing. So all those other things come along with the rounds of golf during our peak season. So the addition, like I said, of that, that 800 players right there, again, although it's not our main motivation, is to drive more revenue. It does result in that, but it also supports all the other businesses within our resort.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is making a lot of sense. And not only are you, as a result of good processes and proactive management, getting more people through, but you're also doing it better than you used to, right? Because here's a 2016, that was the first year that you started to attract data. And now you've got more play out and you're presenting your course better. And that's really a testament to how you're managing things. And it shows that both is possible, because very often a club might sit down and say, well, how can we improve pace and make players a bit happier because they don't like it when it gets jammed? Well, let's reduce our capacity, increase our intervals, but that hurts obviously from a revenue point of view. So if you can do both, if you can manage the space really well and then find additional capacity, which many of the clubs that we work with do, because they can now play later rounds and have the guarantee that people will get in the full 18, or they will have a different dynamic goal time that they set out in the morning for the first couple of tee times, and can actually then tighten the intervals and find another tee time, and that when it matters. And once you get the hang of what's possible with live management and with being proactive and with having all this data, there's always room for more. So just as a closing thought, would you recommend looking into a system such as this to other courses? And also one of the questions we often get asked is, does this work in the private club space where we're not that revenue focused? What would you say to a peer that asks you, is this worth looking at?
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is yes. And I guess to talk to the private place, one of the most successful things I've seen in a private setting is posting round times in locker rooms. And we've kind of used that in the past for posting round times in our caddy waiting area. So we kind of put our caddies on watch per se. And if you have some slow times, you get a check mark, and if you get 3 check marks, we do a little drawing at the end of each month type of thing. So those are some programs we've done in the past. But at a private club, if you post round times in the locker room, then the members they don't want to be up there. And what a system like this does is it gives you the opportunity to have concrete, non-negotiable data that could possibly be posted in the locker room. So I don't know if anyone would want that idea, or as many people, have done something like that in the past, I'm sure, but it's something to consider. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I find tremendous value in it, and I think it's a good opportunity for a facility of any type. You'll realize some savings, I believe, and hopefully have the ability to drive a little more revenue for a successful business, and it improves the guest experience. So, kind of a win all the way around.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Really grateful for your insight, and I think the fact that it's experience first for you, and then revenue is almost a byproduct. I think that's a really good attitude, and it also shows why you are where you are. I think we've reached the end of our webinar. If you'd like to reach out with any questions to Mike O'Reilly or myself, feel free to do so. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of the PGA show virtual this season, and you must have a great year. Mike, we look forward to the Ryder Cup, and all the best to you this season. May it be a fruitful and a growthful one.
Yeah, thanks, Bodo. And if anyone out there wants to reach out to me, that email down there is the best way, and certainly can talk through our experience with Tagmarshal or anything else.